The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Cowboys Storylines with Nick Eatman.
What is up? It is time for another edition of Cowboys Storyline, but this is a special edition. Of course, there is a show called Special Edition, but this isn't it. This is Cowboys Storyline with Darren Woodson today. I said, I kind of teased it last night. I was like, you know what? Any other player, I would have been like, I'm not going to tease it and say the name because you never know his schedule. But your schedule is so busy all the time that you can stick to it, that I knew that you would be here and be here on time, early, like always. Darren Woodson, man, what's up?
No, man, I'm happy to be here, Nick. I mean,
Cool.
I'm right here in the office right here at the Star, so I see you every other day and all. But at the same time,
I always see you walking back and forth.
Yeah, we got business, man. We got business to take care of.
And you're always on the move, like very quick. Every time I see you, it's like whoa, hey.
It's the same. It's the same here. Like, look, you needed me here at a certain time. Guess what?
You're here.
And I'm that guy. Much like guys I played with, is you're still kind of have that anxiety about being late.
Really?
Because being late when you're in the NFL costed you a ton. And I was here for 13 years, never was late for a meeting.
Really?
Because I had so much anxiety about showing up, not being there on time, and Parcells or Jimmy just railing you for being late. It's still a part of me, man. I got to be early.
Was Michael Irvin ever late?
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
but look, there's a few guys, and Jimmy said I'm not going to treat everybody equal.
Yeah.
There are a few guys. Hey, look, you're late. I'll get after you, but
My favorite story of that is Bill Parcells John Madden called Terrell Owens a check the tire guy. He said, some players are late. You're like, who's late? And it's some third cornerback or fifth cornerback, and you're like, let's go, we're leaving. Like, who's late? T.O. You're like, you tell that guy, hey, go outside and check the tires and see if everything's good. He's a check the tire guy.
I have a Michael Irvin story for about Jimmy Johnson.
Let's
We
hear
flew
it.
up to Detroit. And Michael Irvin had started every game. He had this starting streak going on, and he was late for the plane to go to Detroit. And Jimmy, Jimmy's like, we're not waiting on anybody. He can catch a flight up there.
Right.
So long story short, Mike got up there on his own account. He figured out a way to get to Detroit. Jimmy didn't start him. Broke his streak. And I remember Michael Irvin being in the hallway, tears in his eyes, because he was so disappointed that he let us down, that the streak was done, and that Jimmy was on him. And we felt like, okay, well, he's not going to start. He may not play tomorrow. One play. Next play comes in. Guess who walks in? Michael Irvin. So he just, it was a lesson to be learned.
But what's funny, though, you say lesson to be learned. I started traveling in 1999, and when I got in there, I was in the back, sort of is where my seat was, and we leave at 1 o'clock, and everybody had like their $1 out,
right?
And it was 104. They would say 108, 102, 59. And I didn't know what was going on, and I finally realized they were betting when Michael was going to show up.
Yes.
So that was 7 years later.
Yeah.
He still was kind of doing his thing. All right, this is going to be a little different show. We can still get the callers. We're going to just talk about whatever. And we play this game sometimes, we throw out random guys, random players. Throw some out to Darren, because I did it earlier, and you could tell he hadn't thought about some of these guys in forever.
It's
been fun. All right, another tradition we have on this show already is Joe in Stamford, Texas. Joe's always the first caller. So, Joe, what's up, man?
Hey, morning, Nick. Good to talk to you, sir, and I can't believe I get to talk to who is definitely going to be a future Hall of Famer.
No doubt.
How you doing, Joe?
Man, I'm thrilled to talk to you, sir. I got to say it this morning. I work in the evening, so I wake up just for Nick's show, and I wasn't going to wake up today, man. I was tired, and I looked at the tweet, and I saw what it said, and I got up so quick I stubbed my toe on the dresser. I was like, no, man, I'm getting to this phone, so I'm glad to talk to you. So my question for you, sir, what do you think affected you guys to not winning as many Super Bowls as you did, which you won 3, and it's awesome. I'm not saying that, but do you think free agency, which started, I think, in 93, or do you think it was losing Jimmy?
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for the call.
That's
coming in hot already.
That's a great question.
Why didn't you win more?
And Joe, I believe it was both. Look, first of all, you had Jimmy, who was the pillar of this organization at the time. Look, and no offense to Jerry, signed the checks But Jerry was busy with doing a lot of corporate things outside of the organization. Jimmy ran the day-to-day personnel. He brought in guys, he cut players, he drafted the players, and he didn't have to second guess anybody or take it to Jerry or anyone else to make those decisions. He made the decisions personnel-wise.
You're saying this. I'm not saying this.
I'm just telling you. Just
wanted to be clear who's saying this.
This is me. I mean, I just felt like at that time, in that moment, Jerry's greatest owner of all time for all that he's done. But if we're talking about what took place in the early 90s, Jimmy made a lot of those personnel decisions. So when Jimmy left, I thought the first thing that really happened to us was we didn't draft that well in the later rounds. So you weren't picking up the Leon Letts and the Eric Williams and those type of guys. And I think that part of it really hurt us. And it was at the same time where free agency was pilling us back at the same time. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were losing guys. Guys that were, the Kenny Gants of the world who ended up going to Tampa.
Right.
We couldn't backfill those players. And I can't tell you, I mean, we always talk about the star players. Yeah, you have star players. But when you have a personnel, the guys that really understand their role within the scheme and within the team, that's when you become a championship team. And we lost those guys. We lost those small players. And you start losing the Stepnoskis of the world and those type of guys. And we just didn't do enough to backfill that. And things started to get a lot looser in the end. Like Jimmy ran a tough program. He really did. And, we had a lot of crazy personalities, as you well know. But Jimmy did a great job of putting his thumb on us, knowing how we were going to operate, when to take his thumb off of us. So, I think it was a little bit of both. But it was a tough time, man. It really was. I firmly feel if Jimmy Johnson was still the head coach, we win at least 4. Oof. Yep. Straight.
You're the only player.
That didn't sit well with you, did it?
Well,
no. There's a little nerves there when I made
I'll let you talk about that kind of stuff. Yeah. You're the only player in Cowboys history to ever play for 5 different head coaches.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's going to change. Honestly, that might last for a while because I do know the Cowboys don't really want to change out coaches that quickly because of continuity, and players switch out a lot more than that. So it's going to be hard to stay. But from Jimmy Johnson to Switzer to Chan Gailey to Dave Campo to Bill Parcells. And Parcells, I talked to him a year ago. He said, if I would have had Darren Woodson longer, I promise you he'd already be in camp.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd say that all day long. Look, if we were going to lose Jimmy back then, I would look, a guy like Parcells coming in would have been, we probably wouldn't have missed a beat. We probably would have continued to win. But here's the deal. Parcells came in my 11th year, I think it was, in my 11th year in the league. I learned more in 5 months about the game of football than I knew in those 11 years. He taught me how to study. He taught me, what the offenses or the quarterbacks were looking at, how, just situational football during the week, how to manage the clock, those type of, it was unbelievable about how much information that was poured into me in a 4-month time period that I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I was ashamed, almost seriously, Nick, I was ashamed that I didn't know, being the captain of the defense, that I didn't know these things. And I'm the one who's talking, who's mentoring these younger guys, So I could tell you, man, if I would have had him early on, I probably would have had that gold jacket on.
Pretty awesome.
Because he would allow me to play one position too.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He would allow me to play one position.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go to some more phone calls here. Brian in Iowa. Brian, what's up, Brian?
Hey, Nick. Hey, Darren. How's it going, you guys?
Doing great, Brian.
That's good. Well, first of all, I'm going to say I kind of feel like I'm at a toy store trying to pick out my favorite toy with you there, Darren. It's an honor to even speak to you.
Thank you.
First of all, I only have one thing, but I have 2 things now that you're here, Darren. But first of all, my first thing is, I'm going to say about the offensive line going into week 3, I feel more confident about our depth position with Tyler being out for the first 2 weeks. But I still feel like there's improvement there. And But I'm going to say, going forward, I feel confident that if we need a starter to rest, I feel like somebody could step in and plug in for a week or two if need to be, like towards the end of the season. But I still feel like we might need add another piece to the offensive line.
Yeah.
Just for safety, security blanket for the trade deadline. But also, I'm going to ask you, Darren, what would it be like with Micah Parsons on the team of the 92-93 defense that you played in alongside Charles Haley and Tony Tolbert, and what would it be like with you alongside him doing the things that you did?
Man, look.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Man, that's a great question. And was it TJ Bass that he filled in this past week? Man,
I mean,
played
he filled
pretty
in
well. Yeah.
after, Udoka started, and then Bass filled in when Zach Martin went out too. So,
and I kind of agree with what you're saying, Brian. I think that you got to add depth at that offensive line. I think what we're seeing defensively is that they have a lot of depth, and bringing guys off the bench has been that's been one of their strengths. I always felt and continue to feel you win games in the trenches. And if your offensive line can block and you can get the running game going throughout the season, you can always keep defenses off balance. So yeah, depth at that position is what they definitely need.
Before you answer the Micah part, I mean, because it's a different era, where does Micah play?
Everywhere. Anywhere that he
92?
wants to play.
In 92?
Anywhere he wants to play.
Okay.
Look, I'm the old guy who's not going to say, well, these guys are soft and these guys couldn't play with us. Are you out of your mind?
I'm just asking.
Number 11,
position?
Number 11 could have played in any era. He would have started in any era, and he would have been the best player on the field. I mean, this guy. It is amazing to watch Micah Parsons' first step and his awareness and his ability to attack the quarterback and attack the tackle or the guard or what. I mean, he is one of the most dominant players that I can remember watching. I remember when Deion Sanders came in, and my first time coming in as a rookie, he was in Atlanta, and watching him walk around on the field when he was with the Atlanta Falcons. And going, what's all the hoopla? Until I saw him, and I was like, okay, I get it. Like, his entire side of the field he's owning it.
That story you told me about his first practice, or one of his
first practices. He shows up first practice, and someone catches. We're doing one-on-ones, and we have five defensive back on one side, and on the other side you have 5 defensive backs, and you guys are going one-on-one with the wide.
It's a quick drill. It's like
a quick drill. You're like one after the other, and they run a quick 5 route on him, and they complete the pass, and he walks to the sideline, and all the defensive backs who were supposed to go right after him, he tells them, you go to the other side of the field. I'm locking this stuff down over here. He didn't say but I'm locking this down over here. And he basically took every rep, like 10 straight reps, and locked it down. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
Wow.
Nobody caught a ball on that side. He pressed, he played off, he did everything, and it was just amazing to see. But he was one of those players. LT, watching him with the Giants early on, I just thought that he was a childhood hero because he dominated the game, right? Micah Parsons is a guy, and I think we're starting to see the maturation process. He came in his first year, he was playing linebacker. Yeah, he rushed here and there. Second year, kind of the same, probably used him more as a defensive end and as a pass rusher. This year, you're seeing him really mature as far as mentally and understanding the game. Like, the game is slowed all the way down for him. He knows what he's doing. He doesn't have to think about anything. He's playing multiple positions, which that's what I admire about that, because I've done multiple positions, and it's a lot of work, because you have to transform your mind to go, okay, I'm playing safety this position, I'm playing corner this position. Okay, now I'm playing actually the will linebacker, and this time, you got it. The game, you're always thinking. He's not thinking anymore. He's just being a football player. Right. And then they bring in depth. They bring in Sam Williams to spell him. And he sits on the sideline for a few reps and doesn't get those reps, and he gets energized. He gets mad. I want to be back out there. He's got energy now, and then he goes back out there, and you give him 8 straight plays. And I just think this guy's he's a joy to watch, man. He really is.
Yeah, he sure is. Yeah, he's one of those guys that when he's out there on defense, I'm watching him from the press box. You know the quarterback's finding out where
absolutely.
he is.
So he could have played in any era,
Any era. All right. Chris in Mississippi, you'll go to the line. Chris, what's up, man?
How you doing, man? Hey, Darren, I just wanted to say thank you so much. It means the world to us Cowboy fans to have you guys take out of your day and come out here and talk to us on the phone and be just a great guy that you were, and you always have been. In my opinion, one of the greatest Hall of Fame snubs ever, you and Everson Walls. And what I wanted to know was does it ever get to you when people compare other players to you? And of these linebackers, who would you say that probably had the most characteristics of you? I would probably say Dono, would be my opinion. And, Nick, one last thing for you. I got to get off here before I lose service. When we win the Super Bowl, will you please promise me that you will do this show for 3 or 4 hours to let us long-suffering Cowboy fans to just rejoice with you?
Of course.
All right, man.
All right. Thanks, Chris, for the
You
call.
have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm probably in the off season. We're gonna have a little bit longer show, but who knows? Maybe what you just said will have happened too. Who knows? When people compare players to you, do they? I mean, I haven't really heard that a lot. Honestly, maybe I'm biased. I mean, we haven't had another Darren Woodson. A player like that.
I don't know on this roster. I think like if you look at
Donovan Wilson is what he said.
Donovan Wilson, Curse.
Yeah,
I mean, Curse covers the tight end a lot. I see him motioning over and matching up. I mean, look.
Could Curse chase down the best wide receiver in the game?
I don't think you ask him to do that. I'm not sure if he can, but that's not what they're tasking him to do.
That's what made you so different because I've seen you walk Jerry Rice down. I mean, I've seen you do that. I've seen you cover Jerry Rice. I mean, I've seen that. So it's a tough comparison. It really is.
It is. And I don't know. Look, I remember coming into the league and there weren't any safeties outside of Carnell Lake. Carnell Lake was a guy with the Steelers who was a linebacker in college, played safety, and I watched him cover wide receivers, whether it be outside or inside or whatnot. And he was probably the first one. But he ended up being a corner. They ended up just moving him out there.
That's right.
I don't know if there was a guy who did what I did. I mean, my entire career. I don't know. Played multiple positions like that. But I think there's some players that probably have the ability. They just weren't asked to do it.
Hall of Fame voters, pay attention. Wake up, actually. Wake up because it's unbelievable. And I agree. One of the biggest snubs in the history of it. And I think it's coming. I really do. I know. And you were there. I know you were there last year. You were close. You're knocking on the door. It looks like safeties are getting in. So I think it's going to happen. Yeah. So all right, David in Fort Worth. David, what's up, man? You're on with Darren Woodson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, Nick? How you doing, Mr. Woodson?
Doing great, David.
Awesome. Hey, I'll be quick because I know a lot of people probably want to talk to you, but I was just curious, sir, what's your take on our current safeties right now? I mean, for a long time, I played safety myself whenever I was in high school. So close to going to the NFL, I just kind of sucked, so I didn't. So we have, I think we have a three-headed monster, maybe even developing 4 or 5. I mean, we have great safeties right now. And I feel like in recent years, maybe not too recent, but it's been a little bit of a weakness. We had Barry Church and Roy Williams, and I heard you were pretty good yourself, sir. Yeah. So, but now we got to me, like a plethora of great safeties. And I just wanted to know your take on them individually and then how you feel like they do as a unit. Appreciate you so much for being on the show. Appreciate you, Nick, every day for taking my call.
Thanks,
you guys have a wonderful day.
This is probably my favorite question today.
Yeah.
Because I've watched. Yes, I had to get my glasses because I wanted to make sure I got everybody's name on it because they have so many players at that position. And when we've talked about the safety position here with the Cowboys, they were really thin. They've always been thin in years past. This is the deepest bunch. I'm trying to figure out, who do you dress out?
I don't know about that. When Donovan comes back, I don't know what they're going to do.
Marquise Bell has showed up. Right?
Wanye Thomas?
Yeah.
Wanye Thomas blocked the field goal, changed the whole game.
Yes. I mean, you have, of course, you got Curse, and who's the vocal leader, and he can match up. Great matchup. you got Hooker in the middle of the field who's basically the quarterback of that defense, and they just signed him, right? They signed him a couple. So I mean, the depth at that position has been incredible, man. I think that's one of the strengths of this team, and it allows Dan Quinn to do so much with it's like this chess match of what this guy does well, like when we bring him in rundowns or whatnot. I am so high on this group, man. Look, I've been a pessimist about that position for the longest time. I always felt like the Cowboys didn't do enough. Well, they've addressed the position, and I'm all the way in their corner, man. I think this is the best group of safeties in the league, hands down. Hands down. And it's not even close. Yeah. It's not even close. They can all play multiple positions. They come up and make big plays, and we're not even talking about like at the cover position, at the nickelback position, when you got Jordan Lewis, who Jordan played a little bit last week. It was a scratch. Yeah. The first week, right? Yep. I mean, the trade deadline is coming up. I would not be surprised because there's value. Yeah. There's so much value in that room right now because they can all play, man. I don't know what's going to happen. I'd like to keep them all, but in reality, man, there's some draft picks that are sitting there.
Okay. You're talking about making a trade for a draft pick.
I would like to keep them all, of course. Like they're all the toys, right? You can do so much.
We got to let you go because I know that you're so busy, and we're going to take a break. But I do want to ask you this: a lot of fans have called in. They know this team is good. They see what's out there in the schedule. They see the 49ers game sitting there. Mm-hmm. Got a couple of games before, and I'm trying to like hold them back. Like, you know what? Don't
one at a time.
Be focused. How tough is that as a player, knowing that there's this collision course with a team that's knocked you out 2 years in a row? But you've got to focus on the Cardinals. You've got to focus on the Patriots. Is that a challenge, especially with social media and all that kind of stuff now?
No, I don't think so. That's the coaching staff's issue to deal with, right? That's not the players. The players are always. I was that same guy. I'd always circle games and say, "Oh, we're going to win this game. We're going to win that game." Oh, okay, here come the Niners. Can't wait to see. I mean, that's what we do. It's just human nature to figure out. Okay, where's the collision course? Who's that team that matches up with us? I'm circling that game. The coach's job is to say, hey, look, we're going to get there when we get there. Yeah. The focus this week is Arizona, and it starts on Monday. The game's over with on Sunday. We can dap each other up in the locker room. You go get a shower. We might go get a drink after with the families. Monday morning, you move on to the next game. And that next game are the Arizona Cardinals, who are professionals. Yeah. They're a professional football team. You got to go up there and win the game. And the goal in this league, and specifically for this team, is to win the NFC East. You have to take care of business week in and week out to win the NFC East.
Well, I know your favorite team in the Pac-12 is Arizona State because that's where you went.
That's where I went to school. You're my favorite team.
Who's your favorite head coach in the Pac-12?
Oh, Prime. That's my dude, man. My dude. Come on. It's not even close.
Do they play Arizona State?
Yes, on October 6th.
Are you going?
Yes, I will be there.
Is it in Boulder or at home?
No, it's at home.
Oh,
it's
man.
at Arizona State, dude. We're not, we're struggling. Sit down. Next couple of years, we're on probation.
Don't make it personal with Dion.
Oh, I got to make it personal. He's going to make it. He's already made it personal. He's already called, hey, we're going to be down there. And I'm like, yeah. So there's going to be a lot of trash. I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it.
That's fun.
It's all good. That's my dude, though,
fun
man.
To watch. Yeah, always. I saw it at the Super Bowl when you were there, and he was there walking around.
You know what's the funnest thing about that? I know you got to go.
Nah, you're the one that got to go. I'll go all day long. Okay, but you got to go. So
the funnest part of it is not so much Dion. Like I love Dion. He's like my big brother, man. He's just he's poured so much love into me over the years, and we have a great relationship. The fun part is watching his kids, who I knew from, God, they were running around, little snot-nosed kids, Shador and Shiloh, and Bucky's doing all the video.
Bucky had a locker in the locker room.
Oh, absolutely.
Next to you, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, right between he and I. Yeah, that was his locker. Yeah. But I've watched those kids all these years, and he's always loved on those boys, man. and his daughter. He's loved on those kids so hard. No one really realizes how great of a father he was to those kids. And for him to be coaching them at that level, that's a dream.
Yeah.
That really is a dream, man. So I'm so happy for him and the entire family.
It's must watch, really.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And whatever you feel about Deion, you like him, you don't, whatever.
Say what you want.
He's much watch. Funny story about when the Super Bowl week down there on Radio Row and all that stuff. You're there and you're answering all these questions, and and you got the Hall of Fame thing that night, and I went and you were doing something where you couldn't move. You were doing, I forgot what it was. It was some kind of paid commercial that you were doing.
It was Sleep Number.
You couldn't leave. You had to, and I was like, I'm gonna go get Deion for you.
Yeah.
So he has like 3 guys with him, and they're like, no, he's busy. And I was like, well, Darren Woodson wants to talk to him. He's like, he doesn't have time. I was like, he doesn't have time for Woodson? And he was like, no. And the guy doesn't know anything. I was like, all right. So he starts walking that way, and I told you, I was like, I don't think, and you did some kind of whistle, and he heard it.
Right.
And the guy's like, Deion, you got to go. And he's like, come on. He comes over, and for like 10 seconds, it's like, hey, man, it's good to see you,
Yeah.
And then your son is there, and then he's like, oh, yeah. And he's like, oh, you see, your son has hair. I guess you got to get that from his mom.
We're talking trash.
We're
talking trash.
In 20
instantly.
seconds, it becomes like, hey, I miss you. How you doing? And then back to team.
And we didn't miss a beat.
No.
Like, we were locker mates for so long and such dear friends. It just, there's so much. That's what it is, man. It's the relationships and the camaraderie. And it's not just Deion, man. It's the Tony Toberts. It's the Nates and, Emmett. And, I mean, we all have this bond. And when you win Super Bowls, man, it's the one thing about it. You win Super Bowls, you will never forget the guys that you paid that price with, man.
That's awesome.
Those are strong, strong relationships.
Well, I'm gonna take a break here and let you go. I know you were super busy. This was so much fun, and I wish we could do it all the time, but I know how busy you are. So, Darren Woodson, future Hall of Famer.
Thanks.
Current Ring of Honor member.
I'll be back.
All-time leader in tackles, and the first guy to be on here for this show to take some calls, and I'm sure the 4 guys that called in, what a treat it was. For them.
It was. I got to give a shout out to Chris though.
Chris Beam?
Yeah, Chris Beam. In the back. Because Chris brings out the roster. And first thing I said when I walked in here.
Chris didn't bring that, right?
Was that Roxy?
It was Roxy.
I just barely saw Roxy. This is all my family anyway, right? But I got to say,
same
Chris
height.
And Roxy.
I was kidding. Chris, oh man, he's gonna kill me.
Chris, let me tell you this right now. I can't see anymore. I'm an old man. If you bring out a roster this small again that I can't. All right, guys. Love you guys. Take care.
I can't wait till when you come back, because when you do,
we're bringing a big one out.
72-point Helvetica.
It's going to be like 10 pages.
Yeah, it'll be stapled together. It's like, here are the quarterbacks.
Here's a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And Roxy knows better. Roxy, that's your problem, too. She's going to put this on the desk knowing I can't see.
All right, we'll be right back. Hey, guys, keep calling. We'll try to get as many as we can here on the break. Be right back on Storyline.
Fall is here, and that means football is back, bringing all the delicious game day foods with it. As you prep for all the big games, tailgates, and watch parties, let Yo Quiero be your one-stop destination for all things home gating. Yo Quiero's fresh, flavorful, ready-to-serve guacamole, made with real Hass avocados, will score taste bud touchdowns as you cheer on the Cowboys. Yo Quiero's wide range of mouth-watering and versatile products can be found in your local grocery store's produce or deli section. Grab some today.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
SeatGeek has your back no matter what kind of Cowboys fan you are. So whether you're a diehard fan or a don't really care fan, a we got 'em next time fan or we'll never win again fan, a here for the tailgate fan or a first one through the gates fan, SeatGeek not only makes buying and selling tickets easier than ever before, they made just about everything else easier too. So whether you're a here every week fan or haven't been here in years fan, SeatGeek has you covered. Download the SeatGeek app today. SeatGeek, your ticket to great Dallas Cowboys seats.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection. And sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And, of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at Wingstop.com.
Back to Cowboys Storylines.
Well, that was fun. Darren Woodson joining us here for the first half of the show, and I know we got 4 callers that got a big-time treat to talk to him. I'm sorry for the guys that didn't get a chance to talk to him, and he just got to talk to me. It's not as fun. I mean, huge drop-off, and I get that. Darren, he's the best. I mean, he's the best. He's just whatever you remember him as a player, he's 100 times better as a person, and that's what makes him just who he is. And I know he could still play. I'm sure he still could if he wanted to. He says no way, but I bet he could. All right, I'll try to get as many calls as we can here. Tim in Grapevine, is that next? Tim in Grapevine.
Nick, my goodness, that was fantastic. I love this show, but now that was a cherry on top.
That
man.
was, yeah.
You got me hooked. I was actually gonna tease him about being a Steelers fan growing up.
Yes, but you saw that. Did you see that in the war stories that we did?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So it might be a blessing in disguise in case I ever see him in person one day. Probably a good thing I didn't do that. But
yeah.
No, if we want to shift gears here, I'm curious. So we got to see Schoonmaker a little bit early on in the game last week, as well as Deuce. And I'm just wondering, I mean, do you think the coaches, is this a plan on their part as far as ramping those guys up?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think Schoonmaker, they drafted him second round. I mean, they drafted him thinking that he would have a role. I would imagine, he got set back a little bit in training camp with an injury. I think he's going to be, mixed in there. Right now, I think they still put Ferguson and Hendershot with a little bit more snaps, but they'll work him in. Schoonmaker had the rare stat line the other day of just ones across the board. 1 target, 1 catch, 1 yard, 1 yard average, 1 touchdown. I mean, just boom. That's how you do it. So I think Schoonmaker is going to continue to be there because I do think he's going to be your better blocker of all of them, and that's why they drafted him there, because he could be that guy. Plus he's got some wiggle to him, and he can catch the ball. He's gonna work himself into it, and he'll probably be getting a lot of snaps here before too long. Same with Deuce, just finding a role with Deuce. All right, Al in Merkel, Texas. Al, what's up?
Hey man, what's going on?
Not much, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I just hate that I've missed your shows the last 2 days, but I'm actually off of the coast of Belize right now.
Oh, wow. Wow, you coming in.
We planned the cruise along the lines of that game. I didn't get to see all of the games Sunday, but it was a pretty much of a beatdown.
It was.
I just want to say that I think our offense is going to step up when it needs to.
Yeah.
And that's good and bad because hopefully, we always say in sports and in music, it's like you can't just turn it on and turn it off. You got to be ready to, give your best all of the time. But I think right now the Cowboys are in that phase of, turning it off and turning it on. And I hope it doesn't come back to bite us in the butt.
Yeah, I think you can. I mean, I don't think they're really turning it off. I mean, maybe they're at the end of the game. They were just going to let's run this thing out and let's don't get cute or anything. But I think one play here, one play there of them scoring and getting in the red zone and making plays. I mean, I think that changes everyone's perception a little bit. I don't think they've really turned it off. They'll be there, but I do think it's just a different mentality now. When your defense is going to play the way it's playing, then the smart thing is just to lean on that defense. Don't be dumb with the football. Be smart, and I think that they can continue to do that. All right, Vince in Albuquerque. Vince, what's up? Vince, are you there?
Yeah.
What's up?
Oh, not too much. Great show once again.
Thanks so much.
I think your show is probably the best out of all of them. If I want to get the weather report, I'll listen to Mickey. But that's cool. I got a question for you. You know how everybody thinks about after 4 games, that's what our team's going to look like.
Right.
But since it only has 3 games in the preseason, Do you go maybe the 5th game, or is that really true? What do you think?
About we really find out, where this team is? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, after 4 games, 5 games, is that the team that's going to be the rest of the season?
I won't go that far because I do think, we've seen things change throughout the year and, second half of the year, depending on injuries can change all that. What I think the first month of the season does is that it's not just what the Cowboys are, it's what everyone is. And so when you find out what the Giants are, if the Jets win the next 2 games and they're sitting there at 3-1, and you're thinking, well, that win's a lot better than I thought. If everybody beats the Giants, and the Giants, of course they did beat the Cardinals, but if they're sitting at 1-3, then your 40-0 win doesn't look as good. So you just you don't really know what anything is just yet. You just have 2 games for everyone. Once you get through in early October, now you're starting to kind of see what the trends are around the league, see what these other teams are, and you kind of know, some of these wins look better or worse than what they were. But that's just kind of the nature of it. That's kind of how things are going to be. Before we get another caller here, just want to go through, injury report wise. We'll see what the guys get to do today at practice. Guys we're monitoring, of course, are the ones that have been out: Tyler Smith, Donovan Wilson, and Brandon Cooks. Those 3 guys. We'll see what they're able to do. I have a feeling that all 3 of them have a chance to play in this game, and just imagine what that will look like once they go to Arizona. All right, Brian in Pennsylvania is our next caller. Brian, what's up?
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing great, man. I got 2 questions for you. First of all, what's the status of Sharif Floyd? I know he left the game and he went to get medical attention. Is he all right? Is he back in the building?
Yes.
Do we know anything about that?
Yeah. I'll just say yes. He fainted. He fainted on the there in the middle of the play with Micah Parsons got the ball and looked like he was going to score. Just so crazy right there on the sideline. He just he went down just for a second. He was fine by the time that play was over and all that. He kind of was had came to, but just kind of a weird, scary deal for a second there. But yeah, he's doing pretty good resting. For last I heard, he was resting at home. Not sure how much they're going to rush him back, but yeah, it was kind of a scary deal.
Yeah, it kind of was. Got me thinking, we talk a lot about the job that Will McClay does, right? And everybody else is talking about all the great defense and all the talent that we have. I don't think we give enough credit to Aiden Dirty. Yeah. What he's done with this line throughout the years, and Joe Witt Jr. with the pass game coordinator, and also Nick Solari, the new offensive line coach that came in, because we had we had our second string guard come out for our 3rd string, and then Zach Martin came out and Austin Richards plugged in, and we were still able to effectively, move the ball. It didn't become a liability. So I was wondering, this year possibly being a historic year, are you thinking about shedding some light on those coaches, Al Harris, all the guys right there in the trenches with everybody? Yeah. Because I just think they do an incredible job. Will McClay does get talent in here, but the player development that's happened in the past few years is all because of guys like Aiden, and Al Harris. And I just wanted to kind of know what you
I think that's a great
thought
point.
about that.
I think that's a great point. I think it's an overlooked point. And part of that, one of the reasons why it's overlooked is that's kind of by design. I mean, we know how this thing works. We know that the visibility helps. It's kind of an out of sight, out of mind, and assistant coaches aren't really allowed to talk to the media. You don't see that. You don't see them. It happens a little bit at training camp, but for the most part, it doesn't. And so they do get overlooked, and that's kind of the nature of it. But also, too, is it also there's a reason for that as well, because you want to make sure that you're not getting a lot of sources. You don't get guys talking to other different relationships in the media and things like that. So you want to keep it kind of tight, and that's one way to do it. But yeah, it does hurt them a little bit. You do kind of forget about those guys, and you're right. Aiden Dirty's done a great job with those defensive line. Al Harris, I think has their respect for sure, because not only did he play for McCarthy, he played corner, but he played with swag. He played the way that they want them to play. Be aggressive with the ball, go out and go get the football. So you can go down the line. A lot of those assistant coaches have been really good, and I'm glad that you pointed that out. Kurt in Arkansas is our next caller. Kurt, what's up?
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Kurt?
I'm all right. I hated missing Woody because I wanted to ask him. Said he was a Steelers fan. Yeah. I wanted to see what he thought of Troy Polamalu.
That's true.
Because I always dreaded when the Cowboys were going to play the Steelers during Troy's when he was in his prime.
No doubt. I thought Kurt. I thought at one point and I don't remember what year. I thought he was the best player in football. I kind of think of him as a wizard. I really thought.
Yeah, he was good.
He'd be at the line of scrimmage. He'd be way back eating an interception. He'd fly over the top. I mean, he played like a Jedi. He was awesome.
And when those receivers went across the middle, they had to dread Troy.
True. Yep. He was a big time hitter. He could do it. He could do everything. He was a really, really good player. All right. Thanks for the call, Kurt. We're gonna try to sneak one in real quick. One more call. Lucky Wilson in Indianapolis, 10th caller.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good. The last time I talked to you, I think Wade Phillips was coaching the team.
Oh, wow.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while. But, you doing okay? Yeah, everything good?
Yeah, everything's good. Okay. My question is, what are your concerns about the Cardinals? Any chance of the Cowboys letting up, because they're pretty weak as far as I'm concerned. So what are your concerns about the Cardinals? Is there anything we should be concerned about with them?
Yeah. I was kind of wondering if I was going to get any call about the Cardinals this week. I mean, seriously, I was kind of wondering that because you're right. I mean, Cowboys, it looks like that they're going to be way better than them, and they should go out and they win. The concerns are this. Look at what they're doing. They're playing hard. That's and you could say, oh well, everyone should do it. Well, they don't have the talent that other teams do, but they are going out right now. They probably could have beaten Washington. They definitely could have and should have beaten the Giants. They had that game. So they're playing hard. And I do know this: every time you go to Arizona, something's going to happen. Something quirky, something different. Special teams touchdown, defensive touchdown, missed kicks here and there. Who knows? It'll be something. It's not always been good for the Cowboys either. So I think that what they'll do is if you get, and Josh Dobbs can probably move as well. So when you look at what's hurt this Cowboys team in the defense, if there's been anything, it's been quarterbacks that know how to move in the pocket, get first downs, keep drives alive that they should be off the field, but they're moving, and they're getting points. And turnovers are going to hurt this team. The only thing I think will really beat the Cowboys are the Cowboys. If the Cowboys have turnovers, hurt themselves, play like that, then no, I think that's going to be an issue. But if they play sound football like they've been playing, I think that they will win this game. I mean, and they'll probably win pretty comfortably. But you have to get there. You have to get there, and that's what I keep saying all week is that's the test for me is and it's today. If you're going to lose to the Cardinals, you lose today. You lose tomorrow. You lose when you're not focused and you're not paying attention in the meetings and you don't see exactly what the Cardinals like to do with their tight end. Speaking of, is Zach Ertz. He's caught 6 passes in each of the last 2 games. So remember him, obviously, with Philly for so long, but he's found a little something there, connection with Dobbs. But you have to be focused, and you focus in the middle of the week. We say it all the time. That's how you lose games, in the middle of the week, and if you're not as focused as you possibly could be. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, the noise is out there. I've got a screen right here that I can see myself. I got a screen over here where I see NFL Network, and it's what are the chances Micah Parsons could win MVP for 2023. MVP. That's in January when that's announced. Not defensive MVP, but MVP. But you want him to kind of focus. And it's tough to do because that's where everything is. But look, we're going to stay grounded. We're going to be focused. Let's see if Micah Parsons can win NFC Defensive Player of the Week. That won't get announced for the next 15 minutes, but if it does, maybe Micah could win that. Not breaking any news, just saying, could be something down the pipe. That's what we need to be thinking of. Try to keep it as focused as possible, but it's not easy when the Cowboys are playing like that. All right, I got to thank Darren Woodson for coming by. If we can get him in every week, that would be awesome. We'll try because so much fun there, and I know you guys got a chance to call. A few of you did. Maybe we can figure out a way to get him in here, and we can get some more calls as well. For Chris Beam, Darren Woodson, I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you tomorrow on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?